Hello, it's Jacob here on Kios. I'm bringing you another live video this Sunday. It's beautiful here, extremely windy. But I'm going to begin this video by taking you on a little trip where I currently am. And if I flip this round, I've just walked slightly north of Kios town, and one of the iconic sights of Kios, there aren't many, there's only a couple, but one of them are these fabulous old windmills. So just before talking to you about other things, I thought I'd take you on a walk down here. I've got no idea what these are used for. I presume grinding, something maybe. But they're situated right by the shore. And if you look outwards, you can see the silhouettes of Turkey. That's Turkey just there to the east, and we're on Kios here. One of these huge windmills that's all locked up and not used. And I'm assuming in the summer this is kind of a beach area. But at the moment it's just really windy. I hope you can hear. And very sunny as well. And in this live video I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about 7 things. I'm going to talk about music lessons at school. I'm going to talk about birthdays. I'm going to talk about earthquakes, cash, textbooks, and vlog. So I'm just walking around this area just to give you a perspective of what it looks like. The seas come right up here. We approach this one right at the end. It's a nice door. I'll walk you around here, just bear with me. Here we go. Right by the sea. Waves bouncing over here. And I'm probably going to get wet now. This is Kios, right by the sea. And what I'm going to do is stop here, and it says my connection is weak, so I hope this keeps going. I'm going to flip us back round, and I'm going to stand here because I think it's slightly shaded from the wind. So, I'm hoping you can hear. I just said what I was going to talk about today. So the first thing I'll mention are music lessons that we're giving at the school. This week's been really positive. And there's been some really wonderful music and singing. Getting them to sing is really difficult. The students are often very shy and reluctant, and also aren't used to a lot of obviously the songs that we're singing. But slowly, we are working on Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, and all of this. And actually yesterday we had a landmark moment where we actually got some harmony, which is really exciting. So maybe in the future there will be a Kios refugee choir, but maybe a little way in the future. Now this sea is coming right up to my feet, so I'm really hoping I don't get submerged. Oh dear, let me shift a tiny bit. Okay, so that's just music at the school, which is going well, and as I've been saying, we've got a huge delivery of 30 ukuleles, which are going to be arriving soon, and 4 guitars. Okay, the second thing to say is that following a meeting with some of the people here, I've decided I'm going to be staying until the end of April, so I'll be here quite a bit longer. Oh no. Which I'm really looking forward to. Just because this will really allow more time for developing some of the projects, and generally understanding the situation better. And I really think the longer it's possible to stay, just the more stability and consistency there is for the students. And they get so upset when volunteers leave and arrive, and it can be quite disorientating. Sorry, the sea is really close. I don't know if it's tidal. Maybe it's tidal. But tides don't normally move backwards. I think this is just waves. So staying longer, music going well. Yeah, I heard something quite sad earlier this week. or just something that made me reflect on the situation. It was one of the refugees' 18th birthdays, and the person who related this to me just made me think how sad it is that in this area, in this situation, turning 18 is simply not a cause for celebration at all. Turning 18 is actually quite an upsetting and unfortunate thing to happen, because it means you're no longer a minor, no longer an unaccompanied minor, maybe. And this means that your chances of getting processed and your asylum request is much more likely to be protracted and even not to take place. And this is sad. When in England and everywhere else around the world, turning 18 is that kind of day when you celebrate and probably drink and and it's just entirely the opposite here. This is really sad. Okay, next on the list of updates. This week's been full of illness, really, among some of the volunteers. I've been in bed quite a few days. But during this time in bed, it was thrilling, I suppose, to experience a couple of quite powerful earthquakes, enough to kind of wake us all up from sleep, and wonder what the hell was going on. The earthquakes are actually in Turkey, but they woke us up here, and I was lying in bed ill, thinking about the three great catastrophes of Chios in the 19th century. One of which being the 1881 earthquake. I know, it hasn't quite reached the history books in England, but oh well. This is a devastating earthquake on Chios and killed loads of people, actually. It's not a comic. But it also destroyed all the Italian Genoese architecture, for those that are interested. Anyway, this earthquake didn't destroy anything, but it did wake us up. So there are earthquakes, but no tsunamis, because as I was saying, the Straits of Turkey, which you can see in the distance if you look, are, I presume, not long enough to really build up much of an earthquake. Okay, so from music, from staying longer, from birthdays not being good for refugees when you're turning 18 and you're no longer a minor, to earthquakes, to another development in the refugee crisis support world here. That's that the UNHCR are just beginning a new initiative which is handing out cash to the refugees. They're giving €90 a month to adult refugees, and maybe a bit more for families. And this is good and bad. It's worrying because there's quite a lot of anger actually from refugees, and there's been some poetry and responses written that it's all very well handing out money, but what people really want is asylum, and not cash, and what can you really spend €90 on here? And then there's worry that some of them, will be spending it on alcohol and other drugs, which isn't so good, because of the situation and because of a need for escape, etc. So it's good and bad, but I'll try and keep you updated with how this works, this initiative works. That's by the UNHCR, and it's €90 a month, I believe. Okay, two more things to say in this video. The first is just a bit of a rant I want to make, and a call to those so inclined. Is a rant against textbooks written by everyone in the West for language learning. Hi Ahmad, another shout out to Ahmad there. Textbooks is really annoying. As a teacher of English, when you're trying to run a lesson, or when you're trying to get a resource and just use it, in this situation it's impossible, because so many of the textbooks, because of the money involved in making them and the fact they're being sold, means they're basically being sold to a Western middle class who have time and leisure enough to learn languages, but then also to do all those other activities such as going to the cinema and eating nice food. And so all the resources, or the vast majority of these resources are entirely inappropriate for a situation as sensitive as this. Where, you know, asking, oh, what was the last film you saw at the cinema? Or, oh, what's your favourite food you like to go out? Or what did you do last evening? Is just insensitive and completely wrong. And I really think there's a place for both these large publishing houses, but also individuals and experienced language teachers, to potentially put together some resources and books, textbooks, which may be more appropriate for, well, both refugee situations and also for generally teaching in environments which aren't quite so affluent. I think this could be a really interesting project for someone willing to take it on. Yeah. Okay, so finally I want to point all of you, when and if you watch this, to Kiosk Voices. It's a new publication on Medium that we're running in the school. I think the tagline is a student creative platform for refugees on Chios, and it's full of music and poetry and writing and drawing done by the refugees and students at our schools, and it should be continuing to produce loads and loads of content. So do look at that. I think it's www.medium.com/kiosk-voices. But I'm sharing stuff on Facebook, so you can just go on there. Excellent. Well, this is covering most things now. As I've said, this video has covered, if you're just joining, this video has covered recent music lessons that we've been giving and the singing that we've been doing with the students. It's covered my staying until the end of April, quite a lot longer, and that's a minimum, so maybe longer again, but at least to the end of April. It's covered refugees turning 18 and how this is one of the worst things that's going to happen because it takes away their minor status and lengthens their probable stay here. It's covered earthquakes earlier this week, thrilling things, and it's covered cash handouts which the UNHCR are giving to adult refugees on the island. It's covered textbooks and how annoying Western large publishing houses are in assuming their audiences, probably rightly, but assuming anyway, that they are affluent, cinema-going, restaurant-eating individuals. And it's ended just with an encouragement to visit the Medium page for the school now, Kiosk Voices. So, around, we give you a final view of the sea and these beautiful windmills which I've been standing by. I will sign out and say see you next week. Have a great week, and do post with any questions you want answering or particular specifics you would like to hear about. Goodbye. Yassas.